What's up, guys? Welcome to the Keep It 1,000 podcast. It was formerly known as Only Up From Here, but I decided to rebrand it into something a little more. It just made more sense to me to rebrand it. But we're going to cover a very controversial topic today. And the topic of today is going to be how, I don't know what to call it. We're going to call it how the left lied to women. Now, the reason why I'm going to say that is because I've been watching a lot of the Fresh and Fit podcast with Myron Gaines. I agree with a lot of what he has to say. There's some that I don't agree with. But in this one episode in particular, he brought up how the sex industry and porn is catered more specifically towards men. And that's because men and women view porn very differently. As men, generally speaking, we're very visually stimulated. We need the visual. Hence why OnlyFans is so popular, or watching porn and whatever else is so popular. And why it's so harmful for men to watch this stuff, because it starts to mess with your brain. And for women, they're more emotionally stimulated when it comes to sex, which is why book talk is very popular amongst women. Like specifically songs like Nasty by Russ is very popular among women because it's very descriptive. And it's why women read a lot of literary porn, because it's describing the act, not just visualizing it. It's very descriptive in what is going on in the moment. So I did some digging when I did some research on my own, and I found that the founder of OnlyFans is a guy by the name of Tim Stokely. Now, he has since stepped down as the CEO as of 2 years ago. And the CEO now is some lady. I forgot her name was. But they had a point in time 2 years ago where they were going to ban sexual content from the website because their investors, or there's an issue with their banks not wanting to have this kind of material on their website or on the website. Now, the irony in all of this is the point of feminism was to give women the power to making their own decisions and not having men tell them what they can and can't do. But it has since been diluted with people telling women that they can be a boss babe, they can be Miss Independent, they don't need a man, they can go do whatever, they can be as good at anything as a man is, they can do anything a man can do, this, that, and etc. What I'm not saying, listen very carefully, I'm not saying that women aren't equal to men. I'm not saying that. We all have equal rights under the Constitution. No one's arguing that. But we're not the same. A lot of these industries like plumbers, electricians, etc., are catering towards women now because women aren't applying for these jobs. You see where I'm going with this. If a woman were to apply for these jobs tomorrow, they would get that job over the man, because these companies want to diversify their hiring, the people that they hire, because feminism, or how feminism has gotten diluted. People that are in the streets saying that women can do anything a man can do, which on paper sounds good. And sure, they can do anything a man can do within their own capacity. What do I mean by that? They can go, they can go into the same career field. They can apply for the same jobs. They can go to college. They can join the military. They can do this. They can do that. However, we are not the same. Everyone knows, from a biology standpoint, men are superior biologically than women. And this is probably where this video is going to get taken down because of hate speech. But that's why you see a lot of these transgender men leaving men's sports and going into women's sports and dominating. Case in point, Leah Thomas. Or I would urge you to look at this YouTube video of this ex-Green Beret, since transitioned to female, stepped into the ring against a biological female and beat the brakes off this girl. Probably almost killed her. Men and women biologically are not the same. But what these movements have done is they've given women the delusion that they can go into certain professions and still attract men of a certain caliber. For example, if you're a sex worker, they're going to tell you that you can attract someone that's a high value man. Now, it's possible until he sees what your actual profession is and he decides to get serious with you and wants to put a ring on it. That's going to be where he probably draws the line. He's probably going to tell you to stop doing it. And if you want this man, you're going to have to stop. If not, you're out of luck. Women can be CEOs. That's where if one wants to be a CEO, an engineer, whatever, go ahead, go do that. No one's gonna stop you. But if you're a CEO, you have to understand that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be a CEO and turn around and say, I want to be a housewife. Because a traditional woman that's going to be made into a housewife is very feminine. She's the stay-at-home mom, takes care of the kids, cleans the house, cooks the food, and lets the husband go out and do his thing. So it's very traditional in the gender roles. That goes back to like the 1950s type thing. 1950s type gender roles where the women stay at home and the men went to work. Where the next thing to go with this is the very same people that are attacking the patriarchy, begrudging men in the street, bashing them, telling them that they don't matter. The same people that are doing these things are the same ones putting money into the pockets of men. Such as, because OnlyFans was found by a man, Tim Stokely. Pornhub was found by 4 college men, 4 Canadians that had to be men. Excuse me. All these sex industries were founded by men, or at least the main ones, are founded and catered towards men. Women are not consuming porn at the same as men. And that's the brutal irony of this whole thing. Is the same ones that are bashing men are turning around and putting money into the pocket of men. So what I'm trying to get at is if you're doing these things and you're on OnlyFans, you're doing porn, you're doing sex work, escort, whatever it is, no one's telling you not to do it. You live in America. It's a free country. Equal protection under the law of under the Constitution. But you're gonna have a very, very hard time attracting the man that you want if you continue down this path. Because women, and generally speaking, want the exact same attribute, want the same type of archetype in a man. Tall, 6 figures, good looking, charismatic, whatever. They all want the same thing. But that's from their perspective. That's what they want. What men want in a woman is purity, submission, and peace. If you look across any religious text, it talks about the protection of a woman's purity, i.e., her virginity. Every civilization from the dawn of time, since the dawn of time rather, has put things in place to protect the woman's to protect the woman's purity. That's why they had arranged marriages in the Renaissance and during the Renaissance times and medieval and whatever. Because the woman was meant to be a virgin up until her wedding night, when she consummated the marriage with her then husband. If she was not a virgin, it was seen as very shameful and a problem you didn't want to have. They put a lot of measures in place to make sure a woman stayed pure up until her wedding night. And the thing that these people have done is they took the father out of the house, because the father, or the next male figure in the household, is the first line of defense for a woman in terms of vetting the man that she chooses. Now, if the father isn't in the house, she has a very high probability of not making a very good decision when it comes to the guy she chooses. But those will be conversations for a different time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and follow for more.